Acer's Predator Helios 300 is a mid-range gaming laptop focused on a market that casually games and also wants something for productivity. Inside you find Intel's Core i7-9750H CPU paired with 16GB of RAM and Nvidia's 1660 Ti graphics card. When you first look at the laptop, everything about it screams gaming, whether it's the blue accents all around or the light-up logo on the lid. Speaking of the lid, the laptop houses a really good 15.6-inch Full HD display. Bezels could have been a bit smaller, but aside that, multimedia actually looks great on this thing. And with a 144Hz refresh rate and 3ms response time, the display is up there with the best. Viewing angles are good too, and brightness isn't a problem either. This transitions over nicely to the keyboard and the trackpad. For me personally, the keyboard is really good. I like how solid it feels to type, and I'd have no trouble recommending it, whether it's for a person coming from a mechanical keyboard or one from a mushier keyboard. The trackpad, on the other hand, was just decent, with the clicks feeling a bit less premium than I'm used to, and the less premium part actually applies to the majority of the laptop's build as well. It's relatively bulky and has some flex to it, especially the screen, so you might want to protect it with a sleeve when traveling. Also, I love being able to customize a lot of things using Acer's Predator Sense software. I used it a lot to change how my keyboard backlighting works, but within the software, you can do other neat things like overclocking, monitoring, or controlling fan speeds. And there's also a turbo key built into the keyboard of the laptop, which was pretty convenient. Now, as far as actual performance goes, day-to-day work felt good. I didn't encounter any holdups nor any forced closes, which was great. Also, with the 256GB SSD on the laptop coupled with a 1TB hard drive, it gave me a lot of room for my data, whether that was games or for videos when editing. So I ran Cinebench on this thing and it mustered up a really decent score. I also ran the superposition benchmark at both 1080p high and 4K resolution, and you can see just how well it did on both of these benchmarks. As for real-world tests, mine were primarily playing a variety of games and video editing. So when gaming, I stuck to default settings for each game, and quite frankly, performance was pretty good. With the 144Hz refresh rate, every game particularly felt smooth, and frame rate stayed at a very playable level. Fan noise and temperatures were also not bad, but obviously if you use the turbo mode, this does pick up, even though I didn't necessarily find myself relying on it a lot. Now, that being said, this is still 1080p gaming, so if you're looking for more power for, let's say, 4K video gaming, this laptop may not cut it, because at the end of the day, the 1660 Ti with 6GB of VRAM serves as a middle ground between Nvidia's 10 series and 20 series, and while the GPU is better than, say, the 1660 Max-Q variant, it still doesn't support things like ray tracing, which more popular games in the future will definitely incorporate, so you might miss out on that. Moving to video editing use, I'd say more nice things. Using Adobe's Premiere Pro for the most part, I didn't encounter any major issues. I was also able to play back 1080p video at full resolution when editing, and even 4K video. Also, I want to point out here the speakers on the laptop. They're fairly good, clear, and loud, so if you find yourself maybe in a situation without headphones, you'll be able to get by just fine. Speaking of hardware, something I didn't yet touch upon was port selection. The laptop has nothing particular that stands out. We've got 3 Type A USB ports, an Ethernet port, HDMI 2.0, a headphone jack, power input, and a Type-C USB port. You don't find a Type A Gen 3.1 port, which is a bit of a drawback if you want to transfer data at high speeds, nor do you find an SD card slot. In particular, I would have liked also that the power input cable head was a bit smaller, because in day-to-day use, if you're plugging in a lot of things, it does get in the way at times. And I think that nicely wraps up most of the laptop's performance, barring battery life. Keeping everything at a normal level with regular usage, you might be able to push this thing up to 4 or even 4.5 hours. When gaming though, this drops significantly to just around the hour mark. Fairly standard times for a gaming laptop, but you'll definitely need to carry that charger around if you want to do work on the go. So that's my take on Acer's Predator Helios 300 2019 variant. A similar version of this laptop with 24GB of RAM retails for 6,299 dirhams. That's an extremely steep asking price, and this may be due to the 144Hz refresh rate display, a decked out RGB lit keyboard, and software to go help with performance. However, if you are in the market just looking for these exact hardware internals without the additional screen or software technology, Lenovo's Y540 offers the same for a significantly lower price tag. Or even with similar screen technology and arguably a better RTX 2060 card, the HP Omen offers more value for money. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos in the future. This was Vaibhav, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.